And I have a lot of kids who, on a daily basis, will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I saw this and I thought of you." Or,
Oh,
"Hey, Miss Jess, I've been trying to get back into art. Is there anything that you can think of? Right now, I'm in Guatemala. Is there anyone you know in Guatemala who just I have kids who reach out to me all the time.
welcome to season 2, episode 9 of your favorite teacher's favorite teacher podcast.
Um, so hi, hello. My name
Hey.
is Jessica Dickdan. Jess, I go by Jess. I have been teaching for this is now my
Mm,
sixth year in education. I'm currently teaching art at Morton Ranch Junior High School.
okay. So in the 6 years that you have been in education, has it been in art the whole time?
It has been, yes.
Oh,
Always will
okay.
be. I'm thinking.
Always will be. You don't plan on leaving the art classroom ever?
Well, so I don't plan on leaving the art classroom for a different subject.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Okay. Hey, we all have our journey, right? And
Yes.
that's leads us into the first part of the podcast, the part that I like to call the journey. And in the journey, I ask the guests to talk about their journey from the time that they made the decision to become an educator to where they are currently. And we're going to add a little bit of spice to it this episode. I want you to talk about some of the pitfalls that you may have run into and some of the things that helped you be successful in education. So I'll turn the mic over to you and tell us about your journey as an educator.
Sure. So it wasn't it's funny because so I have always been an art kid. Art has always
Mm-hmm.
been my thing. It's where any teacher could find me in the art wing and in any building I've ever been in, after school classes, always, 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 always. I think it runs in my family.
Oh, really?
My great grandmother, used to paint pottery. Her
Oh,
friend used to make uh, make pottery, and she used to paint them. I've got a bunch of her old stuff in my house. But yeah, so it's always been something that's just been in our family, very, very creative. My brother's very creative as well.
oh, okay.
So growing up, I went to art school. After high school, I went to the Maryland Institute College of Art, which is a
Hmm.
private art school in Maryland,
Okay.
Baltimore. I was there for about 8 years. After I graduated with a major in illustration and design. I did a lot of toy design and concept art in college.
Mm,
Really, really, I've always sort of had always really thought the emphasis of play in human nature is very, very important. And I
yes.
think often gets left in childhood for a lot of people. And I think that is something as humans we need to revisit. But so because of that, my journey has always been it has to be fun. Whatever
Yes.
it is, I want it to be fun.
Yes.
Um, the element of play. So after college, I did a bunch of concept art for various studios. I did a bunch of freelance work, design work. Eventually, I moved back home to be closer to my family, who are from here, Houston, Texas.
HT.
Uh, yeah, and I missed it. I really did. I love the East Coast. Man, living on a different side of the country, whew,
Open up your eyes, right?
it'll open up, it'll change you, you know? I had a bunch of people when I moved back home, I had a bunch of people ask me if I was from New York, because I didn't realize how much of that East Coast
Rubs
salt
off.
I kinda yeah, I
Yeah.
adopted. Um, but it's cool, I shook it off. So so moved back home. Teaching has always sort of been in the back of my mind. Like it's always been something that growing up, like my mom used to tell me, like, "Oh, you've always been that kid who would help other kids." I was always the patient one. I was always willing to like look at my neighbor who was struggling and say, "Oh, here I got you," and like help them out, and it's always been, since I can remember, one teacher amongst a sea of 26 hands who need help, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can recognize the person in the room who needs help the most, which is a lot of times the adult in the room,
Yes.
why not help out? So it's always been in my nature to be patient and helpful. And yeah, it just fell into place. As soon as I moved home, I kind of took a bunch of part-time jobs, things that made me realize I can do better, I need to do more. And so I got into teaching. I actually student taught
Mm.
at my high school where I went to school. That happened kind of serendipitously. From there, I actually, one of the art teachers was leaving,
Hmm.
and it just fell into place. I took her spot. I taught for 5 years at the high school where I graduated from.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It really, at first I was kind of like, "Oh man, is this the worst idea I've ever had?" Um, because I mean, high school, middle school, high school, they're not always great years for everybody.
Oh
They were
yeah,
not
no,
great years. They were not great years for me. Um, and so I was a little nervous going back there, but it is different being on the other side of the fence, by which I
yes,
mean being the adult in the room.
right.
Um, so yeah, so it was awesome. It was really, really awesome. So
S- So you
that's
had
sort
the
of,
opportunity to walk the halls as the big man on campus, as the
yeah,
educator. Look at that.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of my teachers from when I was in high school were still there,
Oh wow,
and they became my coworkers,
what was that
which
interaction like?
it was a little strange looking at Coach Haas and calling him Greg, like it's a little, so those names don't leave you.
Right,
The
right.
people in your life, the impact that they had, the best and the worst. Sometimes the middle ground, I don't like,
Hmm.
this is a bad way of saying it, but the teachers who didn't make an impact on you positively or negatively, you kind of look at them and you're like, your face looks familiar, but I don't remember your name. Um, but the negative ones and the positive ones, you remember,
Oh yeah.
that's Miss Stiffle, that's Coach Haas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't forget those people.
They make an
So,
impact. They they
hmm,
they really do.
yeah.
And so let's talk about this though. When you started working on the campus that you actually went to school at, I tried that. It didn't work out for me. Um, so talk about like you being there for the first time. Were there any like pitfalls as an educator that you ran into being young in the profession and working on the campus that you actually went to school at?
Um, pitfall. Interestingly, I really took to it like a duck in water.
Okay.
I think I had the benefit of, a lot of times when I get nervous is when I'm in a new space, a new
Right.
building, and I don't know where the restroom's at, or I don't know where I'm supposed to park, or where's the main off. All those little things that sort of
Yeah.
fill your brain with small anxieties. But not much has changed in that building at all, in the years since I had left it. So there was a little bit of a relief. Like, I kind of felt like anywhere I needed to go, I knew relatively where it was still.
Right.
So it's not a pitfall. It was a positive.
Oh,
I'd say some of the hardest things was, I had a really, really, really good mentor teacher who then became my coworker once I took the job.
okay.
And she alleviated a lot of my stress as a first year teacher. Um, but so before she walked me through it and sort of explained things, and I absorbed it
Hmm.
from her, my the pitfalls in my mind were, what do I do the first day?
Right.
What do I do the first week?
Right.
Meeting meeting students and having them look at you and go, okay, we're gonna have her running around this room like there's no tomorrow. You know what I mean? You have to, like, knowing that a kid that I mean, I can look at a person and go, they don't have the confidence for
Right,
this. You know
right,
what I mean? And
right.
that you learn that early, and I think you learn it in school inherently.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
Finding your
yeah.
voice as an educator is like that's the number one thing. If that's one thing
Hmm.
that I could tell new teachers is like finding your voice and getting that confidence in what you're doing. Because
And stick to
especially
your guns.
especially if you decide to come to middle school, them kids gonna eat you up if you're not if you are not confident in what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So you say that you worked at the school that you attended. Was that a high school that you attended?
Yes. So it was Stratford High School in
Okay.
Memorial.
Okay. So you
Hmm.
went from high school and it did you leave there and come straight to middle school at that point?
So I didn't. So when I left, I was I have taught the course catalog for art is pretty expansive.
Mm,
Uh I don't know much about how it works um in other courses,
hmm.
but for art there's a lot of different subgenres, so to
Right.
say, that you can take. A lot of different courses you can take. It's not just art 1, art 2, art 3. It's drawing 1, drawing 2, drawing 3, sculpture
Mm,
1, sculpture 2, sculpture 3, painting, digital art. It's a whole cornucopia
okay.
of different, subgenres within that field. So by the time I had left high school, I had almost taught every single course in the catalog, just because I wanted to. Because I
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
I think one year I had, and this might sound incredible, I had over 11 preps.
Oh, wow. No, that is incredible. That is
Yes.
crazy. For those laymen's out there that are not in education, a prep is just considered a planning for a specific teaching of a type of class. So if I were to say I'm going to teach math, science, and social studies, that's four different preps that I'm doing. And to do 11, oh, huh, that is that's crazy. That
Yeah.
there are people who do two preps and are losing their stuff just from having to plan those two preps. So 11, oof, hey, more
Yeah.
power to you. You're a superwoman.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm proud of what I was able to achieve. I didn't always achieve it to the best of
Right.
anybody's ability, but it's a lot. It is really, it's a lot. Stacked classes are difficult. Yeah, all the different preps, different things you got to do for each level of a course.
Mm, mm,
Sorry, but
mm.
I digress. So yeah, so that yeah, by the end of it, I was team lead. I had done all these courses. I was
Wow.
teaching all these preps.
Wow.
Um, and I was tired. I was mentoring. I had the year that I decided to hand in my resignation.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I need a break from education.
Mm,
Um, I could feel myself. Sometimes I remember being in school. Sorry,
mm-hmm.
tangent. I remember being
You're
in
good.
school and having teachers who I would kind of look at them and think, "You're kind of mean, and I didn't do anything to you,
Right.
and I don't
Right.
know what you have against me."
Right.
You know what? I didn't understand at the time, but now I do. You need to quit.
Yes. Yeah.
You need to find
Yeah.
another job. You need to
Yes.
let this one go because you making an impact on kids in a way that they're going to remember negatively. And
Yes.
that should not go down in your history book as
Yes.
being a negative impact on a child.
Well, just because you're
Um,
an adult doesn't mean that you some adults act like kids.
yeah,
And it's like being in high school all over again with some teachers.
yes.
So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
Hmm.
that's crazy.
So I could feel myself the year that I decided I need a break. I could feel myself becoming turning into a teacher that I did not like in
Mm,
myself.
mm.
Um, I could feel myself going, I don't really care what grade you have. It doesn't matter. You care too much. I don't care enough. And then I was like, pause,
Right,
let me step back because I know that I could jump back in. I'm young enough to where I know I can jump back in. I have the experience and the confidence to know that it might take me a minute or two, but I could jump back in when I'm ready.
right.
So I took a year off. I did it, but I got back to my roots. I spent the year taking a UX UI course, which
UX.
is so UX is user interface and UX
Oh,
user
okay,
design. So
okay.
it's the programming and design, the way things are meant to look for technology. So think about like how like Spotify looks on your phone, right?
Right.
Where the play button is.
Mhm.
How important is it to have it somewhere where your thumb can hit it very
Mm,
quickly and easily, right? That's design. That's the design aspect of it. And there's I won't get too much in the weeds of it, but I spent some time getting back to digital art, digital media, which is what I spent a lot of time doing in college, and just sort of wanting to learn more and not lose what is so rapidly becoming relevant in technology with
right,
art.
right.
Um, yeah, it was a fun year. I took that course, got certified, did a bunch of part-time work, was a barista. Um, like
Wow.
I was just working, doing a bunch of different weird little things. I was an extra on a Netflix TV show. That was really fun.
Oh,
Um,
what's the
yeah,
name of the
so it was
show? Can we say it?
yeah, we can. So the show is called Mo.
Mo.
It's a
Okay.
show, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's actually it's shot and about Houston, Texas.
Okay. Oh, the comedian. Are you talking about the
Yes.
comedian?
Yes,
Oh
sir.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know
Mhm.
exactly. Well, I haven't seen the show, but I know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go back and watch that now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
won't give anything away, but it's good, it's short, it's sweet. It's about, it's kind of about it's pseudo political, a little social,
Uh-huh.
but it's deeply about Houston and Houston culture.
H Town. That's what I'm talking
Hmm.
about.
Yes, sir.
Hey, isn't he from like A Leaf or something?
Yep. A lot of it
Yeah.
is shot in A-Leaf.
Okay. Yeah, my mom
Hmm.
lived out there for a stint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to watch it just to at least see, hey, I know that place,
Yeah. I'm
you know?
definitely going to watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we have talked about your journey from uh, being a professional artist to becoming a high school teacher to becoming a artist, barista, movie star. But you didn't talk about your journey into middle school. Tell us about that
Oh,
part.
correct, correct. Sorry. All right. So, it wasn't, if I'm being honest, it wasn't my first choice.
Right.
Uh, it wasn't, I'm not even sure if it was my second choice, but I mean, I was scared. Everyone in high school tells you, oh man, middle school teachers, they need to be paid more, and they do.
So
And
true.
I know it now. We do. We do. Um, I have not taught elementary. I don't think it's the right fit for me.
Right.
Not that I couldn't do it. I just don't see myself enjoying it the way that I see my friends who are elementary school art teachers. We're a different breed of artist. We're a different breed of person, and I
Mm-hmm.
love it for them, and it's not right for me, and that's okay. Um, Middle school, man, I was scared. I was really scared. Of the age difference,
Right.
because that is really it, and it's still something day to day that I'm week to week, day to day that I'm discovering about these kids is how they are growing, the different stage of their life that they are at developmentally versus a
Mm-hmm.
high school student. It, it it's a fun challenge. Some days I come home and I just collapse, just truly collapse on the couch. I drive home in silence, just total disassociation, just at the steering wheel. Um, and that's not to say I don't like it. It's just it's exhausting.
It
It's a
is.
lot. It's so overstimulating.
It is. The
But it's
number of decisions that you make in a day, I'm pretty sure it's upwards of tens of thousands in one day.
I read somewhere, they don't quote me on this, but I think I read somewhere, teachers alone make 5,000 answer 5,000 questions a day or
Oh
more.
yeah. I believe it. I believe
That's a
it.
minimum number. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of those questions come from right after you told them what to do. Hey, I need you to get your pen and paper out and write your name at the top of the paper. Mr. Stubblefield, what am I supposed to do? I literally just told you. And
And
you'll
not only
tell
did I
that
just tell
student,
you,
say that
but
again.
it's also on the board.
Yeah, that
It's in
part.
front of you. It's on the paper in front of you. It's on the TV screen in front of you. It just came out of my mouth. Person next to you is shaking you, telling you
Yes,
what you're supposed to
yeah.
do.
Oh, that's
So,
this, and that's why I love middle schoolers. It is like the level of hilarity that just comes from being with them is just it's second to none. It is definitely second to none.
yeah.
Uh, it's fun, you know. It's like it's what brings joy. It's like that yin and yang, which is the next part of the podcast, right? So now that you told us about your wonderful journey into education, from being an artist, high school teacher, movie star,
Okay. Movie star. Come
and
on.
a middle school teacher. Now we're going to jump into the next portion of the podcast, the part that I like to call the yin and yang. And in this portion, we're going to talk about, I'll have you talk about your worst day as an educator and your best day. Now, people like to say, well, there's no particular one worse or one best. Uh, Pick any. Doesn't really matter. We're just trying to give the audience a peek into what it is that we deal with on a day-to-day basis as educators. So I'll turn the mic over to you and let you talk about your worst day. We start off with the worst so we can end on a good note, and then your best day.
Okay. I'm trying to pick. Um, I have not had many days I would consider to be my worst day.
Okay.
Um, thank God for that. I've not had very many. Um, and and maybe that section is can throw people off a little bit because it's not always the whole day. It
Right.
might just be
Right.
one interaction or one
Mm-hmm.
really tough moment that can make your day the worst day.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
the first time I'll go with this. The
Uh,
first time I, as an educator, had to sort of step in and notice that there was something about to two kids were ready to rumble.
ooh,
Um, I had to step in and really use my voice to disarm and de-escalate a situation.
right.
That was at that moment of time my
Mm-hmm.
worst day because
Mm,
that was not I'm not somebody who gets loud, gets angry, shouts. I don't lose my cool too
yeah.
quickly for any reason. Um, there was a moment in one of my classrooms, I was teaching digital art and media.
Mm-hmm.
I had a whole room of really nice Mac computers. I
Ooh,
was in a Mac lab. Um, and I really hone in at the beginning of the year rules and things that will get you sent straight, do not pass go,
mm-hmm.
straight to the office. And one of them is like, roughhousing and playing around these computers because who knows if I'm gonna get them replaced, right?
Right.
So taking things like chargers or playing with keyboards or just doing things you're not supposed to do with your stuff. It was just a moment where it was the end of the class period. Kids were packing up, sort of hurting towards that door with their backpacks, and then one accident. oops, push
Mm-mm.
somebody led into another, and then it was just this one kid who was just kind of new, came from somewhere else and didn't know this other kid, and then they just started shoving and pushing and getting into it, and then I didn't catch it right away because I was having conversation with two other students.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this was maybe year 2 for me, like my second
Okay.
year as an educator, and this was, again, like the first time I had to really sort of be scary and mean in a moment. Me, little 5'2",
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
these 2 giant basketball kids, and I'm
Yes.
like, have to step in and look like I can kill both of y'all. Don't even try it. Um, so yeah, so you gotta pull out that Chihuahua energy, and I just had to
Sure.
sorta that's what I like to call it.
That is good.
Um,
That is awesome.
so yeah, so you can pull out that little Chihuahua energy sometimes, and I had to step in. I had to, really yell and use my voice to these 2 kids and had to separate them and keep them apart, and one kid got pushed into my computers, and I lost it. I was
Right.
like, not in a way that was,
Right.
too bad, but I just, with my voice, I was like as loud as coach as possible.
Mhm.
In the whole room, just seeing the whole room just drop, like you could hear a pin drop,
Mhm.
because that no one has ever heard me get to
Right.
that level before, was honestly empowering, but also I didn't like that. I didn't like seeing that side of me. I didn't like seeing the look on the faces of the kids who had
Right.
nothing to do with that.
Right.
The whole room had to be impacted by that decision that the me and these 2 kids made.
Mhm.
Um, but I de-escalated a situation in which these 2 kids were about to, you know, start slamming into each other.
Well, and
That
here's the thing
was
too.
hard.
Sometimes, and what I have come to find out over the years is that we have our baseline as educators that that the students see us on every day. And sometimes when the situation gets elevated and we have to change character, I guess would be the best way to put it. It shocks them, and they're like, "Hey, wait, what?" And at that time, when you shock them, you can then readjust them, redirect them in a different manner. So being able to pull that out of your tool bag can be a good thing sometimes.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't do it regularly
no,
because, like, students know Mr. Stubblefield as the guy that'll sit there and joke with them and always try to have fun. But when old school military Stubblefield comes out, then they know, oh no, no, we're not, you know, let's do what we're supposed to do.
right, right. But it's good to have a bag of tools
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and not just a small kit, you know?
ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, and you are one person that I have met that it seems like you know how to use your words to get students to do the things that you need them to do, right? I mean, you've talked to me and other adults, and we're like, hold on, wait, did I mean to do that? Did she just talk me into doing that? So I know you can do that with students,
yeah, you gotta keep up with them,
right?
you know? There's a certain level of accepting that, like, yeah, I'm old. I'm old. I'm older than you. You don't think I'm as old as I am. Students never think I'm as old as I actually am. I'm 35. They
Because you
always
look
think
like a baby. You look
I
like a
don't.
baby.
These are not the bags of a baby. All right. These are the bags. 6 years going. All right. Like tree rings on a tree. Um, yeah. Anyway, but so yeah, no, no, no. It's hard. It's hard to use your big voice when you need to. Um,
Right,
so
right,
that's one bad moment of what would have been a pretty normal fine day.
right, right.
So
Well, tell the audience about one of the many fantastic days that you had as an educator.
I don't have yeah, this is the hard one. This one's a lot harder because I don't feel like I have many days that are over the top magic school bus, Miss Frizzle level of,
Miss Frizzle.
like every episode of that show was every kid was having a blast, the time of their life. They were all listening. She's the best educator. She's teacher of the millennium.
Yeah,
She's everything.
but there's no way that those kids were middle school
No,
kids. No way
no,
at
no,
all.
there's no way. Yeah, those were paid child actors, if not cartoon characters. Um, but so I've had a lot of moments. I'd say the best days for me as a teacher are when you introduce a project, and a lot of times, especially early on, there's no real playbook for art,
Mm,
which is what makes art teaching kind of different than math or science or something that has like a textbook attached to it.
mhm,
If you're pulling out a book to teach art, I don't think you are being your best art educator self. So a lot of times you spend a lot of your free time prepping for a project. And a lot of
mhm,
times that means I draw or I paint or I sculpt or I do the thing first so that I have an understanding. How would I teach this if I had to teach this?
mm.
Right. So I have
Yes.
to do it myself first, fully make the whole project. Then I have to make a lesson that guides them step by step through it, um, attaching all the teaks and all the educational standard things that make it teachable and not just like a fun thing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So all of that has to happen first.
Mhm.
Uh, and a lot of times, if it's a new thing, you don't know how it's going to work at all. Like the pitfalls in a day to day of a lesson plan for an art teacher is, oh, well, this was easy for me. Let me give you an example.
Mm,
When I first taught digital art and media, I was teaching Photoshop to sophomores in high school, juniors and sophomores and juniors. Um, I my first day with Photoshop, I was like, okay, you're gonna click on that blue icon. It's got the PS in it. You're gonna click on that. Okay, all right. That's step number one. Miss Jess, how do I click on the icon? I can't find the mouse. How do I this button came up and I don't even know, like I did not realize that there were going to be kids, a lot of kids who've never put their hands on a keyboard before,
right.
on a desktop computer, because we think of them as the digital era, as these kids who are so good with technology.
Mhm.
They're good with a cell phone.
Yes.
They'll teach your mom what an iCloud is, but you they don't know how to right click, make a new folder on your desktop.
Mhm. So
Um,
true.
so a lot of times when I start a lesson, those are the hard days, is realizing I need to back up and
Mm,
reteach a lot of really, really standard basics. But the best days are when they just work. And then you have kids going, no, dude, here, let me help you. And then they start self-teaching
right.
to each other. Here, I got you. And then they lean over. This is so corny. When I see myself and them
Mhm.
leaning over and helping each other, kids getting up out of their seat to feel because they're confident that they got it, and then they go
Yep.
help someone who's not even their friend in the classroom with it. Those are my proudest moments as an educator, in my
Yes.
opinion. So
Yes.
those are when I feel the best.
Yeah. That's like that is the ultimate goal
Mhm.
to transfer knowledge in a way that not only do the kids get it, but they can then turn around and teach it themselves. That
Right.
is true comprehension of what it is that you're teaching. So
Yeah.
it, those are the best days. Those are the
Those are
best
good
days.
days. Yeah. Those are the best
That's a
days.
teacher's teacher who can do that. Which brings us to the next part of the podcast, the part that I like to call, which is the namesake, your favorite teacher's favorite teacher. And in this part, we just want you to talk about some people that have inspired you along your journey of life, this short period of time that you've been on this planet, that have impacted you and made you want to become the person that you are today. So I'll turn the mic over to you and I'll let you talk about your favorite teachers.
Okay. I've got a couple.
Okay.
And really, I don't have 100. I really only have it's really a couple.
Right.
So this person, I actually had name dropped him earlier. His name is Coach Haas. And actually, it's funny because his first name is blanking. I'm blanking on his first name. It didn't even matter to me because he became my coworker, and I still called him Coach
Coach
Haas.
Haas.
Called him Haas. Yeah, Haas, the Haas boss. He was so in high school. I was not good at math or science,
Mm.
anything that required numbers in any way. And I'm still bad. When I have to add in my head, I see scribbles. Like I see just like, that little like that
Yes.
symbol for like frustration. That's that's what's in my brain. Any sort of addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, anything like that. That's
Right.
what I see in my head. If there is dysgraphia for numbers, I have it. So he was my chemistry teacher, and I think I had to take chemistry for whatever reason to graduate high school.
Mm.
He knew um, I struggled. Day one, I struggled.
Right.
I sat, I tried, not 100%. I never always gave 100% because I hated it because I was bad at it, but I tried. And he knew you're not going to be a scientist. He knew that about me. We would talk. He would see me reading a book. He'd see me doodling, drawing something cool and neat or whatever on the side of my paper when I wasn't paying attention. And he saw that in me. And, we'd have conversations about books and different types of media. And he was just trying to connect with me in some way. And I
Mhm.
didn't understand at the time. I was like, why are you talking to me, dude? Um, but uh, I was just writing that 70, like whatever grade you needed to pass, I was just 69.99 the whole year, basically, because it was just a miracle that I made it that far. The day of the final, and he told us all this, ahead of time. He said, "Y'all need to make if you have this grade, you need to make this. You got to get this many questions right." He told us everything, what you needed to do to pass. Anxiety, stress. I'm gonna be stuck in high school. Ain't no way I'm passing this test. I get there, I show up, day of the test, and he's passing all the packets out, um, with the questions on it. And I look at mine, and very lightly, the answers are circled. And I look around, and I didn't say anything, but I kind of looked, kind of shifty eyed, like, does anyone else have a packet that's got the answers already written in? And I didn't say anything.
Right.
I didn't I kind of read the questions just to make sure this wasn't somebody who was playing, somebody else and just trying to get them to fail. And I was like, these seem kind of right. They seem right. I don't know that they're all right, but shoot, these are better than what I would have picked. So I just went with what was on that sheet of paper, and I passed. And I didn't get 100, but I passed. I
Right.
passed with what I needed to pass. He talked to me, and I didn't realize this until years later, like
Hmm.
after I had left high school, years later, and I had thought
Right.
about him again. But he talked to me after the test, and he said, "Look, you're not going to be a scientist, right? You're going to be an artist." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, buddy, for sure." Like, why are you still talking to me, dude? Like, I didn't even appreciate him at the time,
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, and so he was just like, "I just want you to do what you are meant to do."
Oh
And I was like,
wow.
"Thank you. I appreciate that." At that time I was just like, "Cool, thanks, buddy, whatever." Looking back, I realized he probably did that for me. It
Right.
wasn't like some kid who wrote down the answers and like, "Don't write on the test. We're using these again." Because kids do that all the time, and you have to
Right.
double check and make sure you take that one out of the pile, throw it away, because then someone's going to cheat, whatever. He did that for me so that I could just be on my way
Wow.
because there was no reason to hold me back in a way that I didn't need to be held back.
Hmm.
And he's right. Like, I'm never going to be, that's never going to be in my life path to do anything remotely chemistry related, you know?
Yes.
Um, so fast forward and we're coworkers now, and we're actually pretty close in the building.
Hmm.
So I see him pretty often. And we would cut up and we talk and whatever. And um things were cool. He asked me one year, he was like, "Hey, I know," or he was like, "Do you still do art?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "My wife's birthday is coming up and I want to surprise her. Is there any way can you like draw me something or whatever for her birthday?" And I said, "Yeah, just give me a picture and, whatever." So he asked me to do something. Sorry, my camera's like, I don't know where my camera's at. Like maybe, small,
Right.
postcard size, something, just
Right.
something, whatever. And he was like, "I'll pay you for it, whatever." I made him big, like pretty well, actually, I have this folder. Where's my camera at? Pretty big, like a big piece, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I painted this really, really beautiful portrait of him and his two girls.
Oh.
And it was actually turned out really well. It was really it was really hard to do. And it's something that I would have charged like a lot of money for. And I just gave it to him for free. And I
Wow.
I I brought up that story about my chemistry test because it's something I never forgot.
Hmm.
And he was like, "I insist on paying you." And I said, "Look," and I told him that story, and he gave me this look that was like, "Yeah, that was me," because I never knew for sure.
Right.
But it was in that moment that I knew he was like, "Yeah, yeah,
That's
not trying to lose
awesome.
my job over it, but yeah, I did that for you." And I was like, "All right, well, I'm doing this for you. So
Oh,
give it back." That was me giving it back. Um,
that's
that's
awesome.
my best favorite teacher moment.
Oh, well,
Long
and
winded. I'm sorry.
well, here's the thing. That story that you just told speaks to, and I hate to get all educational with it, but it speaks to Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence. And what Gardner talks about is there are going to be students that we come across that are uh, good in certain areas of their life. And one of those areas actually talks about being artistic, art, not ah. So people who are good at art, okay? Um, and like that was your teacher realized that about you and was like, okay, eh, you lean more to the side of a creative individual who can put this to art. And he was like, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I'm going to help you along the way because not everybody can go out and become a CPA or a scientist or even a plumber. We have these um, things that we are interested in, and if people foster those things that our students are interested in, then they become successful in that. Because look what happened to you. You're a very successful art teacher, and you're getting to do the thing that you love the most without those confinements of, oh, she should have did great in math, blah blah blah. No, she's good at art. Let's foster that. Let's help her to flourish in what she's interested in. So that was that was a fantastic story. That was
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Awesome. Um
And the last thing I'll say about it, just real
mhm.
quickly, is that because of that, it's how I also look at kids who walk into my classroom
Wow.
and say, and I look at them and I think, you're not, you're not going to be an artist. And I know that, and you know
Right.
that, and we
Right.
don't have to talk about it out loud. But listen, you show me that you can show up and you
Right.
will try and you will participate, and I will get you to that finish line. And I
Well,
think more people, educators, need to
see,
adopt that.
and here's the thing too. One of the big things. This is the second season of your favorite teacher podcast. But one theme in the first season that I felt like was recurring is the theme of legacy. And like that's what that teacher has created within you because he did that for you. Now you do that for your students. And who knows, you may impact a student in that same way that becomes an educator or does something that impacts others in that same way. So now this legacy of that small action that he did for you gets to live on. And that's amazing. Um,
Thank
wow,
you.
wow. Oh man, I feel like we can do this one for hours now. Um, because you have such wonderful stories. Now I see why
Thank
you're a
you.
famous movie star. It makes sense. It makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. Well, yeah. I
But
didn't buy my yacht yet, but
not yet.
not yet. No, haven't put
I
the
know
down
it's
payment
coming.
on the yacht. It's coming.
I know it's coming.
I'll send you an invite when I get that.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there with
Okay.
bells on. Um,
Perfect.
but we are now at the final section of your favorite teacher's favorite teacher podcast. We're in the part that I like to call "Tell them how you feel." And in this part, I just let you let it all out. Let everybody know, especially because this part of the podcast is actually geared more towards the parents and the people who are not a part of education that don't get to see it on a day-to-day basis. And what I like my guests to do is just talk about what it's like to be an educator in today's society with everything that's going on from the president to even in our district that we work at right now. There's so many things out there, and people have these perceptions of what it's like to be an educator, not understanding that your time in school is totally different from what we see in the classroom today. So I'll open up the mic to you and let you basically tell them how you feel about being an educator.
You sure?
Hey, hey.
No, I'm kidding. Wow, it is um it is something, it is my Roman Empire. Have you heard that? That
Yes,
that
I
saying,
have.
my Roman
Yes,
Empire?
yes,
Okay.
I have.
I think about it. I think about education. I think about America. I think about it more and more every day. Every day I get older, the more I think about it.
Right,
Um, a lot of days it has affected how I teach, what my plan was for the day might go out the window because I'm thinking about the world today.
right.
Um, and it is, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I try and be as honest as possible, which bites me in the butt sometimes, but
Mm,
it's grim.
mm,
It is rough out here.
yes.
The American politics in general, but wow, like education is just, it is not advancing in the way that it needs to.
Mm,
We need to put more stock. Everyone will say it.
hmm.
It's for the kids. We need to put more stock in education, but it's not happening. I don't see it happening. I don't know where it's happening, if it's
Right,
happening.
right.
I'm not 100% with my finger on the pulse of politics. All I see is what I know in my very small worldview.
Okay.
Um, I think art is important. I think it is
Hmm.
important for many reasons. I think mental health is crucial for the developmental process of a child, of a
Hmm.
human. And I think both of those things are in danger,
Mm.
heavily in danger.
Yes.
Um, and they go together so well. They go together so well. I've had a lot of moments where I've talked to people, uh, you know, even my closest friends who are not educators.
Hmm.
They're like oil and gas people. They'll say, "Oh, well, they'll make a blasé comment about like something that I did that day," and I'm
Hmm.
like, "Is that what you think? Is that what you think teaching is? Is that what you think it's like?" That I just have 30 kids and that's it? I have 178 names that I have to keep track of, parents, emails. I like to call them the accommodation list that every child has. They look like little tortilla chips.
Tortilla chips.
They do. Look
Yes,
at them.
in
They
the
look like they're little
in
in
the
our
thing.
system.
Yeah, yeah, the
In our system,
triangles.
I'm like, every kid's got a whole bowl of Doritos. They got a whole bowl. They got a whole
Oh,
nacho chip bag of
oh
accommodations
my
with
lord.
different letters on them. You got to know what all that stuff means, and you have to be so careful not to put that Dorito with that jalapeno and that piece of tomato with that cheese. You just,
Oh
and
my
that's the
god.
part that comes naturally. That's the part that comes easily.
Right.
Um, the days when a kid is like, Miss Jess, you don't know how to spell my name. And I'm like, can you spell mine? Number one, let me just go off on you for a second. You have how many teachers? Count them. Right. How many students do I have? Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. Now sit back down. Um, so it's rough. It's really, really rough. I'll be honest with you, there was a position opening up at a high school. Um, in another district, and I know those teachers really well, and they were kind of vetting me to see if I would want to take this position
Hmm.
for next year.
Oh,
And I wasn't saying no. I wanted to see, I was going to interview and I was going to see like what would this look like? What's
right.
going on here and why? I knew that one of the teachers, the person who was leaving, she was retiring. She's been there for over 28 years or something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah, so she's well into her 70s. She's finally just done.
Mm,
And they were
okay.
looking for somebody really experienced who, you know, could
Knows their
step
stuff.
in.
Hmm.
And that team knows me really well. And they were, you can't really pick, but you can kind of say like, hey, you should, you know, interview for this position. So I was set up to interview, and I got an email from their assistant principal, and they just said, I really hate to say it, but we're actually just cutting the position.
Mm,
We're cutting it
mm.
entirely. We're not even
Wow.
going to fill the spot.
Wow.
And that is, it was sad because I was maybe looking forward to getting back into high school, working at a school where, I would know those kids, blah, blah, blah. But on a deeper level,
Hmm.
the fact that they have cut an art position from one of the most esteemed high schools in Houston,
Wow.
that to me was the sign of times, like a little
Right.
bit more telling of what's
Yeah.
going on and what might be coming. And I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous for I'll be all right. I'm nervous for people who are more nervous than me, who don't have the confidence or the skill or
Hmm.
the years of experience, um, who are just getting started,
Yeah.
who care, who have the energy and the ability to.
You said energy.
A lot of times it's the energy.
Yes.
You got to wake up every morning and you got to want to make a difference.
Yes.
And
So true.
that has to fill your cup. And if that is not filling your cup anymore, you need a new cup. Um,
A new cup.
and it's just that simple.
Yes.
So yeah, so that was a moment for me where I just stopped and I thought like, what's going on? If we cut
Hmm.
art, what's next?
Right.
We cut librarians, we're cutting counselors from
Hmm.
elementary schools. And it's really, 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 really bad. As an
Yeah.
art teacher, a lot of times, sorry, I'm rambling. As an
No,
art
you're
teacher,
good.
a lot of times I get to hear and see a lot of things that students do not tell their math teacher. They do not tell their science teacher.
Hmm.
I get to see a window into their lives a lot of times through their art. Um, Sometimes not, but sometimes they just think like, oh, she's cool, she's young. I can tell her, what I did this weekend.
Hmm.
Not that I asked necessarily, right? But I'm gonna hear about it
Right.
because they know I'm not really gonna judge them for it. And
Right.
like their math, whatever. I'm throwing shade at math and science teachers for no reason. And I apologize to any math and science teachers out there. I'm sure you hear a lot of the bad stories too. But there have been moments where I have stepped in as a human
Mm,
for what I look at as a stranger. I mean, this is a human being that I
mhm,
spend 5 days a week with for 45 minutes every single day. And they have just told me something crucially life impacting. And it is my moment to step in as an adult and be a mentor for this person's life, not for their education, but to help them make the right decision in life. And
yeah.
nobody prepares you for that.
Mhm.
Really, there's no preparing you for the first time a student comes to you, tears in their eyes, and you think they just had a bad math test, and then they pull you out in the hallway and they tell you that you're the first person that they told that they're pregnant.
Right,
And what
right.
should they do?
Mm,
Right? Or that a student is in an abusive relationship and but they love him and you know
mhm.
how can you help them without hurting their trust? Who do you tell? What do you keep to yourself? What do you not?
Right.
Um the hardest moment for me, I kind of avoided the question a little bit when you were asking it earlier, but the reason I got back into teaching really, I had a student in high school she was a transfer student. Their name, actually, I won't give their name away. I
Right.
won't give their name away.
Okay.
They had differential pronouns, they, them. They came to my school as a new transfer student and made friends. They were a different. They were an art kid, in my opinion. I sometimes I look at kids and I'm like, "You're me. You're an art kid.
You're an art
You're a
kid.
little weirdo. You're a little weirdo," and I mean that in the best way possible.
Oh.
They were an art kid, and up to no good on the weekend.
Mm,
Getting into some things that they should not be getting up to at a young age.
mhm,
Um, They would ask to eat lunch in my room. They were in my room quite often. Any free
mhm.
moment they get, can I go to Miss Jess's room? I would always say yes. I don't care if you want to just come in and do your homework in my room. I don't care. Um, they uh the year that I left, they were a junior, and
Mhm,
so I did not see them their senior year. I got a message from a fellow educator at that school, that that student had passed away, um, that they had overdosed
mm.
in their bedroom and they had passed away. And I just thought, you know, it's not that I thought I don't think it's my fault, but there are moments when I look at a kid and I just think, if you ever need to talk about anything, you should just talk to me.
Right.
And I can shoulder it and we can talk about it and I'll sleep all right. It's not gonna burden me in a way that I would rather you burden me a little bit than you go home and be burdened a lot.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so moments like that when I think about maybe if I had still been there, maybe if I could have helped that person, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Those maybes are really hard some days. Um, and that's not to say that happens all the time, right? But it's there's a mental health crisis
Mm,
and it is real. And I really, really mean that. And that rabbit hole goes so deep. Art is so expressive. The coworker that told me about this said that
mhm,
that person was an art, that student was an art. Um, they painted a self-portrait of themselves, and in the background was drugs and pills and
mm.
all the things that was affecting this person's life. Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, it is, yeah. The portrait was not finished because they were in the middle of it.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, these two things go hand in hand, and these kids are, in a lot of ways, they're not stable and they don't feel comfortable telling parents things that, they're afraid of repercussions and they're learning. They're learning a lot more than just math, science, English, art, engineering, they're learning life.
Like
And that is, we've
that
got to be good role models for kids.
we do. I
So,
mean, whew, we really do. And the you spoke about mental health. Like that's the other part that is a huge thing for teachers such as yourself who've gone through that, and who's there to have the conversation with you to say, you know, you've done what you could do to help that student out. Um, it's hard. It is very hard, especially uh, losing people that you feel like that you could have impacted and prevented that from happening. It's just mm, it's a lot.
but it is a lot, but that is, and I don't mean to end on a somber note, but that is a poignant way to express
Yes, ma'am.
the today, the
Yes, ma'am.
today,
Yeah.
you know?
There is a lot of young people that are going through mental health issues today. And one of the things that I find solace in is that we have educators such as yourself who have lived your life and are able to have conversations with the young students in a way that can help them. Because, you know, when I came into this profession myself, 20 years military allows you to see quite a bit, deal with quite a bit. And so when you run into situations like this, being able to have those conversations with those students uh, could literally be the difference between life and death. Um, uh, yeah, yeah, that's heavy. That is a heavy way to end it. Oh,
Well, I will say that, to end on a lighter note, a lot of
uh-huh.
my students, so when I was teaching high school, I would I would tell them, if you want to stay in touch with me, you can have my Instagram, which is like, I don't use that, but I have one so that so that I don't have to give them my phone number. You know what I
Right,
mean? That feels,
right.
I don't do that. But here's this. And I have a lot of kids who on a daily basis will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I saw this and I thought of you," or
Oh,
"Hey, Miss Jess, I've been trying to get back into art. Is there anything that you can think of? Right now I'm in Guatemala.
oh.
Is there anyone you know in Guatemala who it just the I have kids who reach out to me all the time, and my job never ends. The
Mm,
the job does not stop
no,
after a student leaves your room. And that is, in my opinion, a good thing.
right.
Those are the good ways that you make an impact. And I just feel like that's what's filling my cup.
Mm,
That's it's the hard part of this job that a lot of parents, maybe other people in other professions don't realize, is that
hmm.
you're a lifelong educator, and that is not just some bumper sticker.
Right.
It's real. Like I still have students who are not my students anymore. They might be 25 years old by now, and they are still reaching out to me asking me questions.
Right.
Um, because they know me and I'm an educator and blah 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 blah. But yeah, so there's a
Well,
lot of really, really, really good things in education still too.
it is. And they reach out to you because you are uh, their favorite teacher. Um, well, and here's the thing.
I guess so.
Before I let you go, I would like for you to take the time, and if anyone would like to reach out to you, share your social media with the audience so that if they want to get in contact with you, they could do that. And um, if there's anything else that you want to close the show out with, you have the floor before I close it out.
So I will say, so my Instagram is pretty, I mean, it's just my personal stuff. Not that there's anything too personal on there.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just I don't pull any punches. If I post something, that's what I post.
Do you put
Um,
any of your artwork on there?
Sometimes I will.
Because
I'm pretty If I do something, if I draw
Hmm.
something, I'll throw it up there. I'll post it. But it's not a content only
Right.
specific. Sometimes
Right.
it's pictures of my dog. Sometimes it's look, I grew a plant. Where is it over here? You know what I mean? It's little things like that. So it's just life. It's just my life. But that is at J Doozy, Doozy. But professionally, if you would like to really reach out and have a real conversation, my email is jessicadickdan@gmail.com.
Yes.
And those are the only two real ways that I'm on the internet at this moment. And I'd like to keep it that way.
Hey, there you go. Hey,
Yeah.
well, honestly, I've seen your work. You showed us your work when we came in at one time, and I think you should have a social media page of your stuff because that's some great stuff you got. You got some
We can
really
talk
good stuff.
about we could talk about art, the digital world, and social media for a whole another 3 hours. That's
Yes,
a whole
yeah,
nother can of worms.
yes,
So
it is. Um, well, maybe we'll have you back and let you talk about that because I do have some ideas of some stuff I want to do later on, and you would be perfect
yeah,
for it. All right.
absolutely.
So, with that being said, that brings us to the end of the podcast. To everybody out there, you guys have a good one and peace. We out.
See ya.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Your Favorite Teacher's Favorite Teacher podcast. If you have a story you'd like to share, please contact me at wdstubblefield@wdsi.us. Again, that is wdstubblefield@wdsi.us. And you could be our next inspirational story of how educators impact our lives. I'm your host, Mr. Stubblefield, and I want you to remember, no profession is possible without your favorite teacher.